Today I'm going to tell you a story, Too Proud to Love. Sahana and Adnan were deeply in love. Their connection was intense, something electrifying. An unspoken understanding bound them together. Sahana was soft, caring and full of life, while Adnan was intense, emotional and passionate, but often clouded by his confusion between ego and self-respect. Adnan was never cold-hearted. He loved Sahana with all his soul. But he had a psychological struggle, a tendency to mistake his ego for self-respect. When Sahana asked something of him, even the simplest gestures of love, he felt an unnecessary burden, as if compiling meant losing a part of himself. To him, love was supposed to be natural, not an obligation, and so he resisted. Whenever she expressed a need, perhaps a wish for him to call her first, to meet her at a certain place, or to console her when she felt low, his immediate response was, "Why should I?" For him, self-respect meant not bending for anyone, not giving it too easily. But in truth, it wasn't self-respect. It was his ego, whispering that surrendering to emotions made him weak. And yet, after a few days, when the storm in his mind settled, his natural love for Sahana surfaced. He would then reach out, smooth things over, and then would fall back into their rhythm. But each time, Sahana felt a small wound behind left, one that slowly deepened with every incident. One evening, Sahana felt restless. She missed Adnan terribly, longing for his presence. She called him repeatedly, hoping he would understand her need for comfort. But Adnan was preoccupied with something, perhaps work, perhaps just as his own thoughts. He picked up the call, but his tone was really rude. And he said, "Why are you calling me again and again? I told you I am busy." Sahana softly whispered, "I just wanted to be with you for a while. I have my own life. This is emotional pressure, and I won't bow down to it." Her heart ached. It wasn't that she needed him to be at her beck and call. It was the comfort of love she sought, the feeling of belongings, of having someone to lean on. But Adnan, trapped in his illusion of self-respect, saw it as submission, as a compromise of his individuality. For Sahana, this was the moment of truth. Love was meant to be fluid, not a battlefield of resistance. She realized that deep love, the kind that binds souls, required surrenderness, not of self-worth but of unnecessary pride. And so she made the hardest decision of her life. The next morning, she left without a word. She moved to a far-off city, cutting all ties. No more phone calls, no more waiting for him to change, no more hoping that someday he would stop confusing love with an attack on his pride. Understanding egos is something which we all need to do. Before leaving, she wrote him a letter, one that he found much later when it was too late. "Adnan, there is a difference between ego and self-respect. Self-respect is when you value yourself, your worth and your boundaries. Ego is when you refuse to bend even when bending could bring you happiness and peace. Ego is when you ask, "Why should I?" to emotions that demand no reasoning. Self-respect allows love to flourish because it comes with security. Ego kills love because it fears vulnerability. I wanted to give you my love, not take away your dignity. But I can't keep fighting with your need to prove you don't need me. I hope one day you understand that love isn't about losing. it's about merging. But by the time you realize, I will be gone. Days turned into weeks. Adnan felt her absence in every moment. The silence she left behind was deafening. He read her letter over and over again, each word cutting through his misplaced pride. He now saw how many times he had let his ego dictate his responses, how often he had mistaken love's demands as emotional pressure instead of natural vulnerability. He wanted to call her, to tell her that he finally understood, but he was scared. He did not have the courage to reach out to her. Finally, one day, he went to visit his parents' house, hoping to meet her. They welcomed him politely but informed him that she had joined an MBA program in London and was studying there. She had asked them not to share her details. He left sadly, but hope was alive. She had not asked for a divorce. He told himself he would wait, that love had a way of finding its path back. But he never called, not because of his ego, but because deep down he feared that she had already moved on. Months passed, then years. He threw himself into work, into distractions, yet every quiet moment was a reminder of what he had lost. Then one afternoon, an envelope arrived. His hands trembled as he opened it. It was a divorce letter. She had divorced him. He stared at the paper, feeling a hollowness that no words could fill. It was final. There was no more second chances, no more unsaid words waiting to be heard. In that moment, he realized true love, once lost, rarely returns. He had surrendered too late, and now all he has left was a love story that never reached its ending. Thank you for listening to me.